The Father bless me with the heart of a lion, so no weapon that form against us shall not prevail. No man that rise against us, the war they shall never win. 'Cause I will conquer, I will conquer, yes I will conquer. Come on, let's conquer. Oh, I will conquer. Rise up and conquer. Conquer. Tell them no retreat, no surrender. I shall fight till the end of years. I was born as a Makai warrior, and the Almighty God my praise. Fire upon all faith and career. Father, loose all shackles and chains. This morning, first thing as I wake up, King David told Sam to the brain. Don't let your courage go down, keep it up. And if your heart rip up and stitch it up, don't let your faith them fall, pick it up. When my cup was empty, God fill it up. Don't take the devil contract, rip it up. And if your bad mind people commit it up, pass me the Congo, Jama, let me beat it up. God and my side, me no give it so. No weapon that form against us shall not prevail. No man that rise against us, the war they shall never win. 'Cause I will conquer, no I will conquer, yes I will conquer. Come on, let's conquer. No, I will conquer. Rise up and conquer. Conquer. Thank you, Father. I want to say thank you, God. You're everything, Father. Thank you. Father, you alone shall guide me. No man shall lead my path. In the wind I hear your quiet whispers, and you heal my broken heart. Even some of my friends turn enemies, and they pray for right to fail. And remember, you gave us your only begotten son, but we gave him the whole of life. Send down your warriors with the hello. They carry down to the end of days. No matter how the devil tries to trick me, unto you my soul I will give. Father, I know this time is coming. I can see the high tide raise. Without you there is no other. Could you be that really faithful? Shall not prevail. Man that rise against us, the war they shall never win. 'Cause I will conquer, I will conquer, yes I will conquer. Come on, let's conquer. I will conquer. Rise up and conquer. I am a champion. I am a warrior. So who are you to tell me that I cannot make? Who are you to tell me that I am not the greatest thing that God ever created?
Good morning, good morning, good morning, Grenada, Carriacou, and PT Martinique. You are listening to Hard Talk Grenada. A very special good morning to those of you joining us on 97.5 CitysoundFM, 89.5 CRFM, 91.9 and 91.5 RealFM Radio, 92.9 Cicero Radio, broadcasting from Hillsborough, Carriacou, and of course 94.9 We Noise Radio out there in Brooklyn, New York. Of course, a very special welcome and good morning to those of you on the live video, whether you're on Facebook, on YouTube, on Instagram, wherever you may be. Good morning to you. It is a pleasure being here with you this beautiful Monday morning, the 19th of October. And of course, we know what historical significance that day is of to us. And of course, with me in studio this morning, I have none other than Mr. Roland Bowler, my co-host. Good morning.
Good morning, Miss Duncan. Very special morning to you. I hope that you are okay this morning. I know your weekend was a little busy, probably, having you concerned with a couple of things, but yeah, you should be all up to the task by today. A very special good morning to our listeners out there as well. It's glad to know that you have another opportunity and was able to join us here on Hard Talk. we're happy to have you as part of the HARDTALK family. We'll endeavor, as we always do, to provide you with information. We want to educate and elevate our nation with the proper or with the correct information. So go ahead, tell a friend, call a neighbor. Those who have not tuned in yet, let them know. It's gone past 10 and HARDTALK is on again. I really do hope that all of you had a wonderful weekend, that you got time, as I asked you to over on last Friday, time for relaxation, time for reflection, time to re-energize your body and revitalize your cells just so that you can face this week, with purpose, understanding that, it's not everyday things may go your way, and that maybe the past week, the past month or months may not have been going very well for you. But like I told you last week, it's never too late to turn back. It doesn't matter how far down the wrong lane you have gone. Once you come to the realization, you can stop, make that 360 degrees turn around and head back in the other direction. Or whether you need to just make a 90 degree and go sideways, but please don't continue down that wrong path, that path that can lead to destruction.
Yeah.
It is never easy. Starting all over again is tough, it's rough. But if you put your mind to it, you put your foot to the metal, you make your mind up, you have the strong will and the power and desire, definitely you can. We all can. We can all do better. We can all make our families happier. We can all make our lives better. And of course, we can all make this country a better nation for all of us to live, strive, and survive.
Absolutely.
So let's go ahead. Let's get going this morning, Ms. Duncan.
Of course. And guys, today we are going to open the lines early simply because, Mr. Bola, as you know, this week is going to be a short week for us. We have the sitting of Parliament that is expected to happen on Friday. And, of course, on Tuesday, as per usual, is the post-cabinet briefing. So it's a short week for us. On Wednesday, we hope to have a representative from the Ministry of Youth Development to come in and speak to us on all of the opportunities that are available for the young people, what you can do as a young person to, get off your feet and get going, what's available for you. And we want to hear on that day from young people as well. What are your ideas? What do you have in the back of your mind that you would like to see done for young people? Because as we spoke about last week, Mr. Bola, sometimes you hear a lot about not enough is being done for young people. But then when you ask, okay, well, what more can we do? What more should we do? What are the recommendations that you are making for us to engage more with the young people? Then you can't really get any of those. You get a lot of silence in those areas. So we want to hear from you. Remember, that's Wednesday morning. We would have a representative to come and speak to us about what is available for the youth. And a very learned young man, and he has a lot of information, and I'm sure he'll be taking notes, and that's why we always want to hear from you. Don't let that opportunity pass you by. Sometimes you hear that there are no forum for not enough forum for young people to speak on about what they need. But when the forum is provided, you really don't hear anything. You don't hear anybody. You don't hear the solutions. You don't hear the suggestions. You don't hear these things. So what we want to hear from you is the how, and not what's not
the problems
happening.
again.
Yeah, we're hearing enough of the problems. We're hearing enough of what people believe is not being done. Well, we're not even hearing what is not being done. We're just hearing that nothing is being done. We're not even hearing what the nothing is, So I really want to hear from the young people on that day. That's Wednesday. Let's talk about what we can do to help develop ourselves as young people and what government can do to help in that regard also. So we have that coming up on Wednesday. So we're going to open the lines today because, as you know, the week sometimes just slips out from under us and we don't hear enough from our people. And we love hearing from you guys. We like hearing your opinions. We like having conversations with you to hear what's going on. A few things that I want us to start talking about this morning, and I know people are going to get tired eventually of us speaking about it, but it's something that has to be impressed upon us. It's something that has to be spoken about every day. It's something that has to be injected into the norms of our society, and that is to do with our quarantine protocols and the wearing of masks, Mr. Bola. And I want us
Yes.
to understand it for what it is. Over the weekend, I heard a lot of claims and so on of people saying that the protocol said that 4 days or 5 days we have to stay in quarantine, look on the 6th day, and so on. And when you do hear the cry and do the calculation, because I want people to understand that a day, Mr. Bola, is how many hours?
24.
How many hours?
As far as I knew, 24 hours.
Okay, because when I come in on the airport at 10 o'clock on Saturday morning, that is not a day, eh? I have to wait until 10 o'clock on Sunday and count that as 24 hours. That is a day. So some of us, we are in the fashion of saying, okay, well, I come in Friday, so that is Friday is a day, Saturday is a day, Sunday is a day. It does not work like that. So when you really do hear the cry,
But Saturday is a day and Sunday
no,
is
well,
a day.
it's 24 hours.
Right. It's not a 24-hour
Hour day.
for
Right.
you based on the time you came in and the time
Exactly.
you check in and what have you. But I don't know if that's how it's counted.
Well, of course, you have to be counted like that. 24 hours is 24 hours.
Yeah. I'm saying that because, for example, it doesn't matter what time, I'm just being devil's advocate here, and I hope I don't create too much confusion as a result of that. But you know, we really need to verify and check that out, because in the normal sphere of things, when you check into a hotel, there is a time that you check out. I think what it is, 1 o'clock on the following day
On the following
is
day.
checkout time. And that doesn't matter. So if you book for a day, it doesn't matter if you came in 10 o'clock the night or 10 o'clock the day before.
Yeah.
Checkout time is 1
It's
o'clock.
1 o'clock.
You know, so
But that is why they said to have a minimum of 4 days reservation. But I'm not speaking about the 24 hours in terms of the reservation you're making. I'm speaking about the 24 hours in terms of how you should actually calculate it for quarantine
and I
purposes.
understand what you're
Right.
saying very well. I'm just saying that we need to get greater clarity. Because I don't know if it operates, because a lot of the, as far as I know, the approved places for quarantine are hotels.
Yes,
So I don't know if they operate under the same principle.
of 24 hours.
Right.
Okay,
Yes.
we have a call on the line. Good morning.
Yeah, good morning to both of you,
Good morning, sir.
Brother Bola and yourself.
Good
Morning.
Just a few comments here, because I think there is some misconception based on people's improper reading of the protocol. The protocol never says you will be quarantined for 4 days. The protocol says that on arrival, you must send ahead of you a negative PCR. On arrival, you will be quarantined for a minimum.
Right.
Never said you'll be quarantined for 4 days.
Yeah.
It said you will be quarantined for a minimum of 4 days. After the 4th day, you are then tested. And that is simply because you can get a PCR test, they say within 7 days of your flight. Assume you get that PCR test on the day before the flight or 2 days before the flight, and you come in. If you are tested in Grenada when you arrive, it is highly likely that even if you are infected and infectious, there would not be enough viral load in your body for the PCR to pick up your situation. So you may either then have a false negative, which means you're showing negative, but you're in fact infected. So this is why they wait at least 4 days when you arrive here, at least 4 days to test you, by which time there ought to be a sufficiency of viral load in your blood that will be picked up by the PCR test. Again, I want to repeat, The protocol never said you will be quarantined for 4 days. In and about the 4th day, while you're in quarantine, the other thing is this. The government has no pecuniary or financial interest in any hotel. The government has approved a number of hotels, and those are quarantine centers. And those hotels are approved based on assessment done by the Ministry of Health on whether or not they are suitable for quarantining purposes, meaning that the hotel does not allow you to mix with people who are non-quarantine. The hotels that are chosen for quarantine, the staff has been particularly trained in how to handle people who may or may not be infected. And in this business, you have to assume that someone is affected in order to give yourself your maximum protection. No. If you have a home that you can go to and you want to do home quarantine, you have to apply online. And the home where you are staying then has to be certified by the Ministry of Health to be suitable for quarantine purposes, meaning in the home, there must be nobody of a particular age, over a certain age living. There must be no elderly person there. You have to look at the bedroom situation. You have to look at the bathroom situation. You have to determine whether or not there are young people going to school of school age still living in the house. Are there shared bathrooms, or could there be a dedicated bathroom only for you? So all these things must be taken into consideration when the Ministry of Health checks your facility. So you can't arrive in Grenada and say you're going on home quarantine. It does not work that way. And proof that our methodology is scientifically accurate is that patient number 25. When he arrived from Canada, the test he presented said he was negative.
Yeah.
But when he was tested here, he proved to be positive.
Yeah.
So you getting a test in the United States does not guarantee that you are not infected with the virus.
Yeah. Because,
as I said, the virus takes a while, and it varies from person to person, but the average, in terms of the epidemiology, is that on day 4, all right, or possibly on day 5. Some people don't even start to shed viruses until day 7.
Mm-hmm.
So you must get this PCR test. The first stage is to be able to board that aircraft, because you don't want to put other people at risk.
Right.
And patient 25 put a whole aircraft on risk with 200 and something people, or how many people? Then patient 25, by his reckless, inconsiderate activity, closed a whole construction site, closed a whole factory, set several people in the village, all right, have to go in that lockdown, cost an enormous amount of expenses to the state, which already faces serious fiscal pressures. We have to spend an enormous amount of money in contact tracing. And remember, all of this has to be provided by the state.
Yeah.
Now, I understand an individual who leaves North America or England and comes here, he's coming to a funeral. That is understandable. But the obligation of the state, you are coming for a funeral and you have a funeral interest. But the interest of the state is to protect the 110,000 people who are living here.
Yep.
Not to protect somebody who has already died. So while you have a personal travail and you have a personal and very emotional issue that brings you to Grenada, you have to understand, no, you cannot use the standards in the United States as a bona fide good standards, because the United States, as far as this disease is concerned, is in a mess. Grenada has done better than the United States in that we have had no deaths, and we want to keep it that way.
Yeah.
The state and those who manage the state, meaning the government, has an obligation not to protect an individual who has died, because there's nothing you can do for him. While we understand all the emotional issues and things, and we empathize with you, you leave home to come and look after, to come to a funeral, the fact of the matter is there are 110,000 living souls on this island. that needs to be protected. And therefore, your interest has to be subsumed under the interests of the 110,000.
Right.
So you may come for a funeral and discover the funeral is in 5 days, but you're still in quarantine. You're still in quarantine because we cannot afford for you to attend a funeral. You infect everybody in the funeral, infect everybody in the church, right? And then lead to death. Grenada has limited medical facilities. This is our reality. And therefore, the measures that the state has put in place to protect the population takes that into consideration.
Yeah.
And I hope that I have added some clarity to all those who are complaining and whining and grousing and condemning Grenada, who have come from Canada and the United States. Grenada has done far better than the United States and Canada. Do not put us down. We have accomplished what the great United States have not accomplished, and that is we have had not a single death in this country. Neither we have contained every incident of community spread. We've not had any breakout of community spread in our country. It tells us that the protocols and measures that we have taken works. The taste of the pudding is in the eating.
Yeah.
So, for those Grenadians, those in the diaspora who wish to come home, they either follow the directives given, or as Dr. Sean say, don't come. It is as simple and straightforward as that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Thank you.
May I ask you a question, sir, before you leave? Are you gone already? Uh-oh. Yes, cut
I
off.
think he's gone.
Yeah.
But hopefully he's listening. Hopefully he's listening and he's
Oh, no,
heard
just
that you want to ask him a question.
But that was a very, very good and sound analysis
Yeah.
of what needs to happen. I don't think anyone could have done it in a much better way. Very succinct, but using the protocols, and that's what it is for.
Yeah.
And that's what it says, and that's why it is in place. It is for the protection of our people.
We have another call on the line. Let's take this call. Hello, good morning.
No, well, I came back.
Oh, well, thank you so much. I was just making the comment that it was well done, and I don't know if anyone else can do it better than the way you did it in terms of how you use the protocol to show the necessity.
Well, I am a member of the COVID committee.
That
I serve
I
on
know.
the first committee.
Yes.
And I'm serving again on the second
On
committee.
the second committee.
So that I'm highly conversant with the issues.
With the issues.
And
Thank you.
knowledgeable.
Yes.
We have a Grenadian international expert here. As
Yes.
good as Dr. Fauci.
Yes.
A guy called Dr. Charles. He's an epidemiologist.
Okay.
He is as good as Dr. Fauci.
Yes.
I mean, he hasn't made CNN, but Dr. Charles has kept this country safe.
You're right.
That we have had limited or no community spread. We have had absolutely no deaths, and we have had few people in the ICU.
Yes. That's true.
Right? So I'm saying to you, the taste of the pudding is in the eating.
Yes.
Our local Anthony Fauci is Dr. Charles.
Right.
An outstanding, patriotic, very knowledgeable, and dedicated Grenadian. The son of ordinary working people.
Yes.
The son of ordinary working people serving his country with distinction and saving lives. Yes. So I want to repeat, those who are coming from the States and Canada and England and are grousing and bitching, well, all I can say is this. We will not compromise our procedures to accommodate you.
Good. But
the reverse is what has to happen.
Yes.
You have to accommodate us.
Right.
Yes.
Agreed.
And I just really wish to reinforce that point. We empathize with you if you come and a parent is ill or a loved one is ill. We empathize with you. But how many millions of people have had parents dying and their children couldn't see them?
Yep.
Quite a lot.
This is the nature of this disease.
Yeah.
It's not something brought on by the government. It is the nature of the pandemic that we face. So you have to accommodate us, not the other way around.
Yes.
But being a gentleman with a wealth of knowledge in what is happening, even outside of the pandemic, so what would you say you think is the main rationale or one or two reasons why you think people are so resistant to what is necessary for their own protection? Wearing of the mask.
Basically selfishness.
You think it's just selfishness?
Yeah, there are a combination of factors. You have, first of all, selfishness. In other words, the world revolves only around me and what I want.
Yes.
Yeah.
It has nothing to do with anybody else. So as long as I satisfy me, that is important. It has nothing to do with community. The second point is ignorance. I just had to speak to a colleague from St. Vincent who sent me a video of a woman from India claiming that inhaling steam kills the virus. I mean, that is just utter garbage, right? And then there are some herbalists who claim that if you drink bush and these are just, in other words, you have a combination of illiteracy, you have a combination of extreme selfishness and carelessness, right? And then you have a warped sense of something the Americans define as freedom. The Americans accept that if you don't wear a seatbelt, the police could charge you, the police could stop you, and in fact, the police could haul you off to jail. That's a seatbelt.
Right.
It's driving a car. There are no constitutional issues in that. What's the difference between a seatbelt and a mask? They are both prophylactic, so they are both assisting in saving lives.
Yeah.
Right.
And there's a lot of garbage going around about if you wear masks, the mask does make you sick. I mean, there are medical doctors, surgeons, that in the surgical room, they never take off their mask. And then there's another piece of stupid action. People are wearing face shields instead of masks. A face shield protects you against splash. In other words, if you are close and I was talking and sputum comes on you, and piece of my spit go into your eye, you could be infected if I'm infected.
Yes.
If you look at everybody in a medical situation, look at surgeons, you would notice they have on a mask and then they have on a face shield. So the face shields that you wear from your forehead down does not give you the protection that the mask give you. And people walking about, I see people in town walking about with face shields. I saw a gentleman have his 2 children in the supermarket, and I'm just shaking my head. Because a face shield is a protection against splash.
Yeah.
So that sputum and viral loads don't go into your eye. Because you can be affected through your eyes.
Yes, you can.
Right? So I'm saying it's a combination of ignorance, selfishness. In fact, it is the epitome of what American capitalism expounds. Right? And this is why China has done so well. This is why South Korea has done so well. In other words, those countries that does not have a warped sense of what freedom is. Because according to America, freedom, you can cuss a police any amount of obscene language. That's no offense. And do you know that there are lawyers here in Grenada who are promoting that kind of thing? I mean, I heard a lawyer on a same COVID case the other day, and quite frankly, the lawyer has not read. And therefore, I can't understand how a lawyer could not be reading. Because if the lawyer read the protocols, he would see that the protocol says a minimum.
Yes.
That you should make arrangements for a minimum of 4 days. Which means you could be in the facility 5 days, 6 days, 7 days, 8 days, 9 days, 10 days, 13 days, 14 days.
Yes.
But the lawyer doesn't read.
Yeah.
But it is all meant to catch clients. It's cheap advertisement. Right? So the emphasis here is not to protect your client, not to protect the community. The emphasis here is to advertise that you are a lawyer so that you get clients. Again, all based on selfishness. It has, that is what it is. It is me first, me second, me third, and me only. So when you have that kind of philosophical thinking, right, that is how things operate.
Yeah.
Quite well explained.
And that's a challenge. That is a challenge that we face.
That we face in
to root
this
out
society.
from our people that philosophical infiltration that has come from an extreme view of freedom, that it is all about me.
Yes.
And has nothing to do with anybody else. As long as I get what I want.
Yep.
So, I come for a funeral, I'm going to go. Because it is me.
Yes.
Yeah.
I have the emotional issues. I don't care about the next 109,099 about it. My father's sick, and I come in here. The hell with the rest of you.
Yeah.
Right? And he's coming from a country which has the largest single death from COVID in the entire world.
Yeah.
Yeah.
True.
In the entire world. And proof that our system works is that patient number 25 came with a negative PCR, and look at what has happened. His girlfriend is infected, he is infected, blah, 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 blah.
Thank you so
And
very
let me
much.
tell you something.
Yes.
If the government was so stupid to follow his emotional trail and comply with his requests, and people start dying here, well, you know that's the end of the government.
Of course. Of course.
So, damn you do, damn you don't.
Don't, yes.
Yeah.
So I prefer to do and get the damn.
The damn.
And my do is, you're not coming in here unless we test you and we say you can go home.
Yes.
Yeah.
I
And
agree.
according to Dr. Charles, if you're not prepared to do that, stay where you are.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Agreed. Thank you.
Very well said. Thank you
Good.
so much.
Thank you.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think we could put it in any simpler of words, of terms, but I do have the protocols in front of me, and I do want to share with people what the protocols read, because I heard somebody very ignorantly say on one of the social media program that, he doesn't read nothing already. Well, I can't understand how that is good justification for anything. How do you expect to come into a country in the midst of a pandemic, sign or affix your signature to a document and not read it? And the very ignorant excuse is, well, he doesn't read already.
So because you don't read, I must allow as the authority
Yeah.
you give you that
Because he
chance.
doesn't read already.
Because you don't read or you don't want to read, the authorities must give you the chance, as the caller just said, to go about and infect
Yep.
over 100,000 people.
So for the people who do not read, or them that doesn't read, or that we know, let's take into account that we know he doesn't read already. We will read for you. And the protocols are very simple. Four. It's four very simple protocols, and I want to just read them quickly. So to the callers that are calling, just allow me 2 minutes to expound on this. From all other countries that are not low risk, and for those of you who don't understand what the low risk countries are, I implore upon you to go to the covid19gov.gd/travel government website and read the protocols. And if you are unable to read, there's no shame in that. Have someone read it for you. Ask a question. Invite the opinion of an expert. A lot of hearsay and rumors and nonsense is flying about the place. Do not get caught up in that nonsense. Because at the end of the day, your excuse cannot be, well, Mary Jane de say. Because it's not Mary Jane that's going to pay the $10,000. It is you. So it reads that CARICOM countries are now required, because remember before the protocols did not require those in the CARICOM bubble. There was a bubble that contained a few countries, and you were not required to have your PCR test done. Now that has changed. So people from all CARICOM countries are now required a negative PCR test to be done within 7 days, right? Before travel, and children that are under the age of 5 are exempted from the PCR test, right? But anybody above that is expected to do that 7 days before you travel.
It doesn't have to be said.
At least 7 days.
At least.
Is it at least? No, within 7 days.
Yeah, no more than 7
No more than 7 days.
So
Right. So
if it's 8 or 9 days before you travel, it's null and void.
right. So people from countries like Antigua and Barbados, Dominica, Grenada, Montserrat, St. Kitts and Nevis, St. Lucia, St. Vincent and the Grenadines. You are not required to quarantine as long as you come in with your PCR test, but I do believe there is minimum movement within that time as well, even though the quarantine does not apply, right? Now, from all other member states, the same protocol is required as all the other countries. And I'll tell you what the protocol for all other countries are. Now, there are some low-risk countries. And if you go into the website, it does give you the option of viewing what all of the low-risk countries are. And there are a number of them. I'm not going to sit and call them out, but there are a number of them. You have to have your negative PCR test required within 7 days of travel, right? All other countries, and this is where we're having the most issue. People coming from Canada, people coming from the US, countries we know are hot zones, basically. You have to come with your negative PCR test. That is non-debatable. You come with your negative PCR test within, and I know some people are saying, oh, well, we have difficulty in getting a test from a different state and so on. Listen, figure it out, because that's just what the rule is. You know, we're not going to say, okay, well, because you're living in Los Angeles, we know it's difficult for you to get a test, so just come anyway, you know? No, because guess what? In doing that, in making that small change, it can affect not just you, it can affect all of the people that you come in contact with on the airport, the people that you come in contact with on the flight, the people that you come in contact with in whatever quarantine facility that you are sent to, right? Or that you make your reservation at. These are all of the people that are being put at risk. And then by extension, their family members and all of that. Right. Now, this second point that I'm going to read is the most controversial point. So I want you to listen carefully. It says a minimum of a 5-day reservation at an approved accommodation for observation and quarantine. Minimum of 5 days. Visitors on day 4. I remember we spoke about what 24 hours means. Yep. Because when you're speaking about laboratory testing and blood work, they don't look at the day that you came in on the airport and how much time you spent in quarantine. They're dealing with hours. And in a day, it's 24 hours, right? So on day 4, you have the option, and I want you to listen carefully, you have the option to get a PCR test and to be allowed into the community if that is negative. Or you can remain at the hotel for the duration of your visit. If you opt to go into the community, then you must receive confirmation of a negative PCR test and clearance from the health officials. I want to read that again. On day 4, if you want to go into the community, you want to go and see your family, your relatives, you want to go to your funeral, you want to, whatever you came to do, you must receive confirmation of a negative PCR test and clearance. Not or clearance, and clearance from the health officials. Residents on day 4, right, must receive that confirmation. So I want all of the people out there saying, oh, well, we didn't know, all of that is on the website. It's also on the document that you affix your signature to. Yeah. So what if the document had said on it that once you come in here, if the health officials feel like it, they could quarantine you on a boat? Yeah? Or some weird, crazy thing. You just affix your signature to that. What if they say that the quarantine facility is now Richmond Hill Prison?
Well, they're saying because the person on YouTube was saying they don't read.
But you understand my point.
Yeah,
anything can be on that form. So you have to read the form. If you cannot, or you are unable or incapable of reading the form, or incapable of understanding, because a lot of people could read words and don't understand what those words mean. So if you are incapable of understanding what those words mean, I implore upon you to please seek the advice of health officials, or at least a learned individual who can provide you with factual information, verifiable information. Don't go and call Susan down the road that you know Susan, anything that happened in Grenada, Susan calling you and tell you. And you ain't even sure if what Susan's saying is true.
Next thing Susan believe is she you talking about him.
I don't know no Susan down the road.
I'm telling you, well, I know a Susan down the road.
Well, it's a good thing it's me that's saying it and not you.
Okay.
So please try your best. It also goes further to say, for booking of a reservation, make your reservation at an approved, pure, safe travel accommodation. And if you've ever been on the website, you would see that there is also a portal available for you to make your reservation online to these approved facilities also. So you can't say there's no way or means by which you can make your accommodation before you come to Grenada. That can be done, right? And it says our list of pure safe travel approved accommodations have been inspected and certified and are ready to welcome our visitors, right? I can go through the list of what those accommodations are as well, just so we are, sure on exactly what they are, and it's quite a few of them, so if I don't mention all, please forgive me. It's about 17 or so of them now. Compass Apartments, Carriacou Beach
Where,
Resort.
Where they are, do they have the address?
I don't see
You
the
see that? Okay,
no,
so
I don't see
Compass
the
Apartment,
address.
It doesn't say where it is.
No.
Okay.
At my island, and maybe if I click on it further, it would, but then that would take up too much time. So it's there on the website. PTANS is up your side as well. That is also an approved facility. Villa Beach Cliff, Crayfish Bay, La Luna, Mount Hartman Bay, Mount Cinnamon Resort, Mariposa, Sam's Inn, and that's also up your side as well. Right, so everything is not done on the south of the island. I know some people have been saying, oh, well, it's just a money-making thing because they have whatever agreements with those big hoteliers and so on. You can clearly see that a lot of these accommodations are small, quaint, whether it's a little apartment or a little beach house or, these kind of things. Then you have Bogle's Roundhouse. So guess what? If you want to quarantine in Carriacou, you can. Yeah. For the people who are saying, oh, well, there's a man here and he had to quarantine. He had living in Carriacou and he had to quarantine and XYZ. He could have made his arrangements to be quarantined in Carriacou. You have Calabash, Siesta, La Sagesse Hotel, Bougainvillea, Blue Horizons, Coyaba, La Heliconia, Grand Anse Beach Palace, La Faibleur, Blue Star Apartments, Bella Blue, Gem Holiday Apartments, Grooms Beach, Radisson Beach, Silver Sands, Mitchell's Guest House. That's right in Tongue, eh? That's right in on H.A. Blaze Street. That street with T.A. Marichaud House.
Okay.
Right. Pointe Petit Calavini, South Winds Apartment, True Blue Bay, Point Celine Hotel, Sandals Grenada, Macabana, Carriacou Grand View Hotel, 473 Grenada Boutique Resort, Lansapine Cottages, Tropicana Inn, that's right on the roundabout in Tongue, on the Kirani James Boulevard. Yes.
Yeah.
Lansapine House, Valley Breeze.
Valley Breeze is up in Grenville
It's up Grenville as well, yes. Wave Crest Sites.
In fact, I know someone from up my neck of the woods who quarantined in Valley Breeze. They came from England and they were in Valley Breeze.
And they quarantined there. Secret Harbor Boutique, Smith's Echo. I think that's the first time I'm hearing of that one. But Smith's Echo, Sea Breeze. I don't know how to pronounce this one,
Well, I can't see it from here.
It's spelled Kerheol. Anybody knows how to pronounce it, please just let us know. I don't want to leave anybody out. Armadillo, Clarenceville, Lorena in Carriacou as well, Cabier Ocean Lounge, and that's in St. David's.
Cabier is in St. David's.
Right. Captain Harris, right in Grand Anse, Villa. These are all official quarantine sites. So you can't say that the information was too vague, that you don't know where you have to go, that you don't know what the sites are. And you hear people saying and making all kind of bogus claims to state that only True Blue and Sandals and so on, getting all the business and all of. These are all nonsense. Or as the caller said, ignorant remarks. Or in some cases, it's not ignorant, it's politically motivated to make you feel a certain type of way about the situation. So don't get caught up in that nonsense. Read. And then it also goes further. The protocol also goes further to make mention of making reservation. You have to at least have a 4-night, because that's how the hotels count it, based on the nights, how many nights you spent.
Yeah.
So it says fill out the online form, and the online form has all of this information, and that also includes acceptance of the waiver of liability agreement, right? That takes liability away from the state of Grenada in case that you do nonsense that you're not supposed to do and whatever, right? You have to upload that relevant document, and of course the PCR test as well. And then you also have to upload proof of confirmed reservation, and payment for 5 nights. That's it. 5 nights. You see them, Mr. Pola? 5 nights. 5 nights is what?
I'm seeing the computer proper from here.
5 nights is 6 days, Just so anybody wondering what it means. 5 nights in actuality is 6 days, right? So these are all things that are listed on the site. It's there in plain view for us to read. So I do not understand. And for some of the media persons or people on social media and so on, that is going around just misleading people as to what the protocols are, vilifying the government and vilifying the protocols, sitting in a place where people dropping every day from COVID and trying to say that we here are not handling it properly, when our track record clearly shows that we have done the best so far in the region in handling COVID-19.
And we are in the top 10 in the world.
And top 10 in the world.
Yep.
And you sit on your programs and so on and just vilify the protocols because you feel like there are a group of people out there, if you anger them enough, you're going to get enough viewership or listenership, and that will give you enough ratings to get enough money. I mean, people need to stop being so easily used.
Well, as the caller rightly put it, from whatever angle you look at it, it is selfishness.
Mm-hmm.
It's about caring only about me. Once it's okay for me, as he said, me first, second, third, and me alone in everything.
Yeah.
Don't care about nobody else or what they feel, how they feel, or what happens to them.
Yeah. We have a call on the line. Let's take that call quickly. Hello, good morning.
Good morning.
Hi, morning.
Hi, morning.
How do you do?
We
good.
great.
Mr. Wall and Miss Duncan was along with.
Yeah, we're sorry about that, but I think Ms. Duncan just wanted to clarify again for the purposes of those who pretend to be ignorant or does not understand the protocols are there.
Yeah. I'm fully in agreement. I was waiting and patiently, I was fully in agreement. But I must say, I really hope that, and I wish the whole of our nation of Grenada was tuned into Hard Talk. I mean, the senator's explanation and that encyclopedic explanation of the situation, I mean, to me, that would have clarified everything else. I mean, yes, you all have been supplying the information day in, day out, but it seems that our people, for some reason, are not listening. Yeah. But when, as the senator was saying, when people allow just mere selfishness and stupidity to get the better of them or of us, then something is definitely wrong with us. Something is wrong with that. For some time I've been listening to some of these lawyers, and all in the during the lockdown, the COVID lockdown, when we were under lockdown, I saw a group of these lawyers from the Grenada Bar Association behaved, and I saw, because apparently they had this press conference, video press conference, and the way they were behaving and the things that they were saying, because they were saying, look at us, there is no COVID here, we are not social distancing, we are not doing this, we are not doing that and the other. And I questioned and I said, Lord, what message are these people sending to our nation? To the younger people, to the already defiant younger section of the population and what have you and so on. What message were they sending? So they try to sell themselves, as the senator was saying, cheap advertisement, they sell themselves. But what I've discovered is that they do much better on radio, television, and writing in the newspaper than they at the court. The court where they're supposed to excel, I don't think they do as well, some of them there. But they come on radio and television and they write all sorts of things in the papers, and so on. And again, I don't know how much appeal I or maybe the rest of the conscious people in the population, people like yourself, Mr. Bola, Ms. Duncan, and the doctor, and I like how the senator put it when he liked our acting CMO, Dr. Sean Charles, to Dr. Anthony Fauci of the Center for Disease Control and Protection in the U.S. Because sometimes we underestimate what we have. We look down, we despise what we have, and so on. So it was very encouraging to hear the senator, promoting our doctor on, in that light. But again, I don't know what else can we say. I don't know what else I can say. I don't know. As I say, Mr. Bola, Ms. Duncan, you all have been sharing information. You all have been analyzing. You all have been dissecting. You all have been doing all the good things. And I just want you all to continue doing what you are doing. It's unfortunate that it seems that we are speaking sometimes to a rock or a tree or something that, does not have understanding, and that kind of thing. It's unfortunate. But we should not give up the fight. We should continue to do what we have to do. And as the senator was saying, let us not be judged by what we fail to do. We may not be able to do everything because we have our limitations. But let us not be judged by what we fail to do because of fear of what other people might be saying, of what maybe the members of the opposition might be saying, especially the main opposition, because I know they are pushing the fire, they are poking. They cannot do better. And it's unfortunate. I would have thought that they would have joined with the government, right, and to ask people to continue to appeal to people to respect or to observe the protocols. That is in our interest. At the end of the day, I don't see anybody trying to gain any advantage or any points there. That is about preserving, saving lives. And that is precisely what the government is trying to do. But
Caller, are you aware, as you make that point, that just over the weekend, I think it could have been Friday, thereabout, that the NDC did put out a statement talking about they being so concerned about the present situation with patient 25 and what has happened, and urging the government to do more. And I read the statement, and in that statement, they talk about education of people, and so, which I say you could never do too much of. You always need to, and I compliment them for that. But nowhere in the statement, which was about a page long, did they ever call on the nation to obey the regulations and to practice what the protocols call for. Everything was about the government need to do this, the government need to talk to the police about the high-handedness of charging people for not wearing masks.
I am questioning the sincerity of these people. They are not sincere.
Just like I did.
Yeah, they are not sincere. I question the sincerity. They are not sincere. What I saw personally, a grouping on August, Tuesday was the 11th, and I could tell you I smelled what that grouping was all about. They were poking what was happening in Sates on Carnival Tuesday, and I could stick my head out, and they caught on this. And that is the kind of irresponsible behavior. Is that going to bring a vote? And if it happened to bring a vote, and that is why they cannot maintain power, they can't hold on to power, because the unrealistic claims that they make or promises that they might make, they realize when they get into office is a different thing altogether. It's different. It's one thing to talk governance, and it's another thing to be governing, because they talk a lot, but the real issue, sometimes I hear these people and they're just brushing the thing, they're just touching it at the surface. Just a cursory, just a superficial analysis of things. They're not really getting down into depth. And sometimes, unfortunately, so our people don't understand. And they fall for what they are saying. They go for what they are saying. You're talking about we have measures in place, coming back to the lawyers, and they're trying to tell the population, say to us, what interest does the government or the politicians have in containing people's freedom or rights? What do they have to benefit from that? Mm-hmm. Come on. There is a situation that confront the world. And as the senator was saying, we have done much better than the so-called first world. Yep. We have done better than the first world. And if our people are attuned their breast to regional and international affairs, they would know that. They would know that. If we take on a daily basis, we get the news. We on a daily basis, and in fact, I'm on a lot of different chats One of the chats that that the senator also is on, and a lot of information comes through that chat. So, but information is available. But why is it that we only look for the sensational and sexy news? The misinformation, the inaccurate, the half-truth. That is what we seem to be showing interest in. We don't, anything that is helpful, whereby we should take it to help educate, because we shouldn't just depend on the politicians or the Ministry of Health or the Ministry of Education, whoever. All of us should play a part. Are we saying that we don't have a responsibility? We also have a responsibility to protect ourselves and to help the government of the day protect the nation. Come on, we have to be responsible and don't let this selfishness and this stupidity get the better of us. What are we trying to show the world? Or what are we trying to show others? Come on, people, wake up and let's wake up and smell the coffee. Let's wake up and smell the coffee. Another thing I wanted to talk about weeks ago was that, and rightfully so, how the Minister of Education, when she was talking about the CX results, CAPE results, and so on, and how well some of the schools did and the improvement in performance with some of the schools. And then GBS says there were 2 students that performed exceptionally well in that they got a whole number of subjects, 18 or 16 and 13, something like that. Yeah. But Mr. Bola and Ms. Duncan, I've heard about a lot of this scholarly performance over many years. And some of them would have gotten scholarships, some of them joint, scholarships as island scholars and what have you, and so on and so forth. And after a few years, I haven't heard not much more about these people in terms of the performance, what they would have finally achieved, and the contribution towards Grenada. So a lot of the times we talk. So the state should provide us with everything, take us to a level, and after that we leave, we just disappear from the radar, and nobody hear much about us. So it become a personal thing now. It's just about us and our family. And after we spend many years abroad, when we return, we want to see things like where we come from. We want to see things profit. We're trying to find out why has that not been done, and why didn't do this and why didn't do that and the other. Come on, people, wake up and smell the coffee, and let's be real here. Let's be real here. And if we're talking patriotism, and if we're talking love for Grenada, we have to all do our part, right? We have to all do our part. That is the only thing that would make the difference. That is the only thing that would make the difference. I'm saying we have to be the change that we want to see. We have to mirror the change that we want to see. Mr. Bola, Ms. Duncan, continue the good work. Thank you.
Thank you for all you have said. It's a little long-winded, but necessary, good. And as we've said, the lines are open. You did ask for a little wait for you to explain something. You did that. And I think, the callers, those who are calling, those who are contributing, they do have an understanding of what is happening. They do feel that more of us, and we have made the point last week and even the week before. Why is it so difficult for us, one, to understand that the protocols that are in place are for our protection? Mm-hmm. And 2, why are we so defiant? What has caused us to get to that place where we believe that everything that those in authority ask us to do is bad for us? We must have the pushback. Nothing is wrong with asking a question. Nothing is wrong with wanting to know why. Nothing is wrong with saying, well, why can't I do something different? But we just continue to push back and to fight back and not at all. Just accept that it is for us, for our betterment.
Yeah. Someone posted here, speaking directly to you, Mr. Bola, I think you know better. There is room for improvement by the NNP administration. But that is something that we have always said, But there's room for improvement everywhere.
Yeah, I've never said that the NNP was perfect. And I don't know what reference the person is making, but, I did talk about the NDC calling for more education, and I said it was good because too much, you could never have too much education. What I did not see is they're saying at the same time that people must follow the protocols.
Yes. Speaking to the people directly.
Yes.
Taking the politics out of it.
Yes.
And just speaking to the populace and saying to them, listen, we understand your cries. We understand what you are saying. However, this is meant to do X, Y, Z. And as you were saying earlier, Mr. Bola, it is my belief that we are so laissez-faire as a people as it relates to the protocols and as it relates, or some people, as it relates to what is meant to be done in COVID-19. Because we as Grenadians have not seen any effects of COVID-19 as yet in terms of the taking away of lives. Seeing our family members struck down as a result of the virus. People being so badly affected that they need to be on ventilators, you know? People being in the streets covered with sheets because there's nowhere to hold that amount of death. You know, we have not seen that. We have not felt that. So for us, we are complacent in the fact that, oh, well, we're safe. But what has kept us safe? And that's the question we're not asking ourselves. What is it that has kept us so safe that we are now so complacent? Is it not the same protocols that we are striking down and being so defiant towards? It is those same protocols that have been there from the very beginning that have kept us so safe that we feel a need now to do what it is we're doing.
Yep.
And that is very sad. We have a caller on the line. Hello, good morning.
Hey, good morning, Mr. Duncan. Good morning, Mr. Buller.
Hi, morning.
Good morning. Mr. Buller, Mr. Duncan. I want to say that this government is doing wonderful work in giving us information. Give us information to the Grenadian people. As I said, that when you give us information, it's up to the people now to take the information. And because the majority of Grenadians took the information and they obeyed the protocol, right? That's why I do believe there is no death from the coronavirus. So I call in upon those who've been disobedient to the protocol. Have a heart. Remember, you have children, you have families, your cousins, sisters, brother living in the community where you live in. Take heed. Be obedient to the call. Obedience saves life. When you disobey, death comes upon the country. So I want to say to all, if you say you love the country and you're truly a patriot, let us obey. Let us obey what the health person are saying. Because I want to say that you will not go to a carpenter and report your sickness to a carpenter. You will go to a doctor. And many of the people that don't obey what the health person is saying, when they are sick, where are they going? They are going back to the same doctor who they don't obey. Yeah. And Mr. Buller, I want to say today, it's 27 years of the end of the revolution. I say the revolution did a lot. There are a lot of positive, a lot of landmarks that we could speak about, but there are a lot of negative things. I look at other landmarks from 1974, since after the independence, and I'm looking at what government did. I want to go back to Gary days. What Gary, with the medical school of medicine, and in Gary days, how could I find black people working in a bank? Gary changed that. Gary changed that. We get independent again. All this thing comes about with opposition. We're opposing the good things that benefit greater to the. Look at the Morris Bishop with the building of the airport. It was criticized. NIS again, it was criticized, but it was a good. Looking at this government, the National Stadium, the bus terminal, the Ministerial Complex, everything was the opposite. But the Lagoon Road, where the service developed, they oppose it. But now when you look there, many of them who oppose it, they every day they enjoy the beauty of it. Mm-hmm. And because when you look at Lagoon Road at the time, Lagoon Road was a mess. Right around up and down, but development comes for the people of Greater Carriacou and Pitmati, and the same people who oppose it, now they are there every day enjoying the benefit. Yeah. So I want to say it to we Grenadians, if we want to go forward in life, let us come together. Each and every one of us come together to help build our country. And they were saying, what our country could do for us, what we could do for our country. Yeah. And if we want to see our country develop, let's all come together for our country to be. Right now is a gateway for other countries in the Caribbean. Because in 2008 to 2013, Grenada was a laughing stock. But now, Grenada is a light to the other Caribbean countries. Mr. Bola, Ms. Duncan, you all are one for the God bless you.
Thank
All right,
very
you
much
too.
for your contribution. We do appreciate it.
All right. We have another caller on the line, Mr. Bola. Hello, good morning. Oh no, we seem to have lost that call. The calls are coming in so quickly. And it seemed like my mic wants to give me some trouble. I just want to know, is everyone out there hearing me? Because my mic seems to be giving some trouble. But the caller is right, Mr. Bola. We have a lot of opposition, and true to their name, they oppose. Every single thing is an opposition. When you need them to say, yes, you have done well, they turn around and say, well, you should have do this too. We have another caller on the line. Hello, good morning. Hello.
Good morning, Miss Duncan.
Hi.
Good morning, Mr. Bowler.
Hi, morning, sir.
All right, sir. Well, I'll tell you, you're not hearing me, but I'm listening. And Mr. Bowler, what I'm doing the work that you have delegated to us.
Well, that's wonderful. That's very good.
Yes.
Very good to know.
Yes. I have one main question here.
Yes.
There was a gentleman, I don't know if you all address it, There was a gentleman on social media that was complaining that he came in, his father was in hospital, and he was, and he'd been quarantined, and he stated some negative aspect of it in terms of maybe, it's all about making money and things like that. And he was going, and he will be living and not able to see his father. Did you all address that issue if ever it was raised?
Well, we didn't address it directly, but I think a number of callers, and even this morning we had a gentleman who called and dealt with the whole issue of quarantine in such a manner. As a matter of fact, he's a member of the team, the COVID-19 team that advises, or committee that advises the government on the procedures to take along with the medical profession. They advise government. And what he said is no one should expect the government to compromise on the protocols because you have a sympathetic situation. And he made mention of the fact that whether you came for a funeral or to see a loved one who was ill and in bed or so, because the protocol clearly asks you to make sufficient provision, because you will be, once you're coming from North America or Europe or some of those places where it's considered to be a red zone where the virus is still very prevalent. You'd have to come in with your PCR test, and you have to quarantine no less than 4 days to get your tests. Because at that time, it gives them enough time. If you come with a negative PCR, but you may have the virus, it takes between 2 to 4 days before the antibodies start showing up for them to get a proper test on the PCR. So people know all this thing beforehand.
Yeah.
So if you come and you did not book sufficient time to be spent in quarantine and then to get time to go to see whoever you came to see or to do whatever you come to do, bearing in mind that there's still a possibility that if you're tested positive, you won't be allowed to go anyway. So, and Ms. Duncan read out all of the protocols again. It's on the website, it's there. And we encourage people here every day. Read it, understand it before you book your flight to come. The ministry advised that. In fact, the last press conference that was held, the acting chief medical officer, Dr. Charles, said, look, if you are not prepared or you're not in a position to follow the protocols as they are being prescribed, then probably you should stay where you are, because they are not going to compromise. Government in no way is going to say, well, we are sympathetic with you because it's your father, so spend 1 day in quarantine and then go. They won't. The protocol is the protocol.
Because at the end of the day, you have to take into consideration that it's
You
not
have an
just your
entire
father
nation
you're
to
coming-
protect.
Exactly.
Yep.
It's not just the father alone you're coming in contact with. That effect can be a ripple effect for a lot of people.
Okay, I understood. No, and Mr. Bola, let us be clear about this issue, about this situation with COVID-19.
we in here in Grenada, we have done extremely well.
Yes.
The rest of the world is giving us a kind of credit that few other countries in the world, even in our in our neighborhood, could get.
Yeah.
Right.
And as a result of that, we really have to thank the government for staying the course and protecting us thus far, that we did not have any death and we did not have any mass infection. Mr. Bola and Ms. Duncan, I thank you for the time.
Well, thank you too for your concern and for raising the issue, and we do hope and wish you the very best.
Yeah. Guys, the lines are open. The number to call is 440-7377. If you're calling locally, if you're in the diaspora and you want to call, then you can do so. For the person who's trying to call on WhatsApp, we had some issues with it last week. We should have it resolved. And I want the people to understand, we have 3 separate lines. So you may be calling and the phone is ringing, but another line is engaged. So it means that we can't take your call. It's not that we don't want to take your call. It's just that there's probably another line engaged or another line ringing, and then,
So we could only engage one line at a time.
It's who's been there longest, you know.
Yeah,
Some people have been ringing, like the guy who called earlier, been calling for such a long time, We have to, but we
So
do
just
want
keep
to
trying.
hear.
Just keep trying. We do the best to take as many of those calls as we possibly can. And Ms. Duncan is correct. Sometimes when you get through on a line, another one may already be answered, and so it's engaged. So your call will not come through during that time.
Yeah. But we want to appeal to the people, especially now in this time where there are a lot of rumors flying. A lot of people are out there just with the mere intention of vilifying the government. And I want us to be careful of those things, because as much as you hear, and it's funny because there are people in quarantine and you are hearing the stories because they're putting it up on Facebook, who are saying, well, I've been in quarantine for X amount of time and I understand that I have to wait, and I've never seen this happening in the place where I'm quarantining. And you are hearing people outside saying, oh, well, look at that, people walking all over the place and they come to quarantine, and you understand?
Maybe these people who are saying that was in quarantine themselves, because I don't understand how you could be on the outside
and see and
do all of those things. There may be people walking around the facility, but are they the ones who are being quarantined?
Exactly. That is something you also have to take into consideration. Hello, good morning.
Good morning.
Hi, morning.
Mr. Bola.
Good morning, sir.
Morning, yeah. Remember I came by you, I used to work at the hospital.
Yes,
Remember
sir.
I came by you?
Yes, sir.
With a letter?
Yes, sir.
Stating about the victimization?
Well, you said it was victimization, yes, sir. Yes.
Yes, and you read the letter that I gave you, and I told you was for appears to be alcohol. Somebody they sent me home for.
Yes, I remember that.
Right, and and remember you said you don't know who advising that person.
Yes.
To do that.
Yes.
Right. So what I called to say, you have a lot of wrong things happening in this country. Yeah. And Mr. Clement Tobias gave me that letter to get at work at the General Hospital, because I work hard for the new National Party from Northeast. And there's a lot of victimization. I went by the Prime Minister 4 times. 4 times I went by the Prime Minister, and you only balling, boy, I hear you didn't used to come to work. How you could just hear that and go with that and use the Minister of National Security? And then a high police officer had a meeting with me and Messi and calling me to go in Maribo and work. What happened? All they want to kill me up there?
All right, caller.
Why they want to victimize me to send me in Maribo?
All right, caller.
And the Ministry of Labor, I don't understand all you.
All right, caller,
all these are wicked administration.
All right, I'm sorry. Wrong program for that. I understand your concern, but that personal matter is something that you should not be I don't even understand why you would call and say something like that. If you have a concern, the best way to address this is to speak to the persons. And from what he's indicating is that they tried to relocate him to another job and he refuses to take it.
There's a lot of issues about that. The gentleman did come to see me and I did explain to him as best as I could. He did have a letter that said in it that he was sent home because on a certain day, someone saw him with something, and the letter said so that appears to be alcohol.
Right.
And I said to him, well, they have to investigate the matter and make sure it was alcohol. You can't fire someone on something that appears to be.
Right.
And I did encourage him to go to the Ministry of Labor and other things like that, But there are some people that sometimes feel that if they are wrongly accused, they should not be the ones taking steps and trying to redeem themselves, but that those who have wronged them, so to speak, are the ones that now must take on the issue. And that's a long time ago. That's really gone past a year since the gentleman came to me with that issue. It's a private company. I have no say in it. In fact, I'm not a member of government, but I gave her the best advice that I could. The fact that
so the company that he works with is a private company? It's
a private company doing government work, providing security at the hospital. And he felt that he was being victimized because they had asked him to transfer from working in St. George's to go to Maribor, because I think the same company provides security for both hospitals. Right. And he felt...
So he wasn't
apparently he was dismissed.
Right.
But upon advice and they might have called him back. I gather that much.
And relocated.
And then relocate him.
Attempted to relocate.
But he didn't want the relocation. He felt that to go to Maribor now was a form of victimization.
Oh, wow.
I mean, I couldn't do anything for that. If that's the way he feels, that's the way he feels.
That's the way he feels.
Yeah.
We have another call on the line. Hello, good morning.
Hello, good morning.
Hi, good morning.
Yes. Good morning to Mr. Bola.
Good morning, sir. Yes.
I'm just calling to share a little bit of my concern and take on the matter.
Okay.
Yes. Good morning. I think Grenadians on a whole, I think we need to start thinking seriously about that COVID. We are a culture of blaming and always looking for excuses.
Yes.
And I could fairly say that and stand by my grounds, because I was in that stage one time. I'm a recovering alcoholic. Yes. And then when I had my issues, I keep trying to look to blame everybody for my problem until I had to see it for myself that I have my problem, I have to deal with it.
Right.
But I'm saying all this to say that we are going through something here that we didn't plan for, nobody planned for. It's something that is set up on us, and the government is doing the best to put things in place for we as individuals. People forget that the individuals has responsibility for themselves, to take care of themselves, to take care of the family, the friends, and everybody in the immediate community. Nobody really wants to get this thing. You know, it's inevitable that every time something happens, we have to blame the government. We have to blame the police. The individuals have given recommendations of what is needed when they come in here. Okay? People have to understand that. You read, you understand carefully. You have to be tested. They give you things. People tend to always take out conveniently certain parts of those things. So they tell you that you come in here, you may be kept in quarantine for at least 4 days.
Yes.
But people taking out the at least and say 4 days.
Yeah.
But even if you come in and you spend 4 days and you didn't get a test, it tells you that a test must be conducted before.
Yeah.
Yeah? Yeah, it tells it must be conducted before you leave and go. You have
but not just conducted, Colin, not just conducted and you must get the result and the permission, permission from the chief medical officer to leave.
Exactly. So if you don't get that, you have to wait.
Yes.
If you leave and go, that's a violation of the law.
Yes.
You understand? So people must understand that. So when they do the things, and as you said and you mentioned, and I'm glad you raised it up, we all share the pity that people have if you have someone sick you want to go and see, or you as a rich you want to go to your family, whatever it is. But we have to remember there is a bigger picture to all that. Yep. I myself am seeing and I'm appealing. I'm going around my workplace and everything like that, and people are refusing to wear the mask. I am here now, and I'm calling on Grenadians, please wear your mask when you are in crowds and among people. We don't know who have this thing, when it coming, how it coming.
Yeah.
So we need to protect ourselves, and we need to be responsible. Most of all, let us be responsible and start blaming situations. If we see faults and we see little mistakes, I think we should be responsible enough also to call the necessary people and give advice or share your concerns so that they could look into it. But at the same time, we ourselves must take our responsibility and to encourage others to do what they need to do. And in doing that, that means you have to do it yourself.
Yeah.
So once you have to live by example, right? So if you are doing it, then people would say good. And if you see somebody not doing it, just reach out and kindly tell them. Some of them might cost, don't matter. Sometimes it gets to them. So this is my contribution today, and I'm asking for people to please take on your individual responsibility and do what is right for all of us in Grenada. And thanks for the government doing a wonderful job. And Mr. Bola and Ms. Duncan, continue doing the good work you're doing and spread the message.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
We appreciate that, and we hope that you would assist us in helping to spread the message as you go, one by one, soldier by soldier, block by block, individual by individual. Because, we can't be daunted by the fact that some people are resisting, some people are not doing, some people are not listening, some people are pushing back. Well, there are a lot of people that are obeying. I see a lot of people. Credit must be given to them as you move around. They are wearing the mask and wearing it properly and doing as they are told and following the protocol. We appreciate that, but we do hope that more and more people would see the need to do it.
And because someone else is not doing it is not reason enough, justification enough for you to not do it also. I really want to appeal to people out there, because you see, we have this theory that, well, if that person not doing it, I don't must do it either. And it is something that is a bad practice. It's bad protocol. I mean, it would never stand up in a court of law, because when you're being charged, you're not being charged on the account of the person sitting next to you not doing it. You're being charged on the account that, you weren't following the procedure that needed to be followed. So please, that is not, it's not reason enough for you to not do it. If you are doing it and you find it is unfair that you have to do it and nobody else is doing it, and you want to bring that up, then that is okay. But make sure that you are doing it. That is what needs to be, to be emphasized upon, that you are doing it. People talking about, the police and they're not wearing the masks, but they want to charge you. At the end of the day, when you go to court and the judge says, well, I understand the police was not wearing a mask, but were you? What would your answer be? Well, I didn't see him wearing it, so how he could charge me? But were you? That is the question. The ticket and the charge would be in your name, not you adjacent the police officer.
Well, the law doesn't say that the police have to be wearing his mask to charge you for not wearing yours, yeah?
Exactly.
The law says that you must be wearing your mask in public. Mm-hmm. And I do accept that there's a great argument that you can make, and the police officers who are not wearing their mask, especially when they are on duty and when they are dealing with people for the said issue, should recognize that they need to lead by example and they need to wear the mask. And I'm calling on the authorities to ensure that that happens. Yes. But at the same time, it does not give you the right. The law doesn't leave any loophole in it to say that if a police officer approaches you on the issue of you not wearing your mask in public, that you can defend yourself by saying that that officer wasn't wearing the mask likewise.
All right. We had a call on the line, but it seems like we lost.
We lost them. I probably talked too much. So too long, caller. We are sorry about that. Absolutely sorry.
Yeah, but we do need to do better as a people. We need to stop finding persons to blame. We need to stop finding reasons for not abiding by the law. When my daughter was growing up, she had a T-shirt that says it was my brother's fault. That's what we're doing right now. We're just finding fault in everyone else and not taking responsibility for our actions. Good morning.
Morning, Ms. Duncan.
Hi, good morning.
Morning, Mr. Bola.
Good morning to you.
Well, I did. I can't get all you for a long time. It's hard out getting.
Because sometimes the lines get tied up. We have different lines, and sometimes when you call, somebody else might be on.
Yeah.
You go
I just want to make a short point here.
Yeah, go ahead.
I was talking to some guy, and them guy said to me, them police are those serious. They're joking. Well, I would like for the police to pull up and charge people. I don't go in buses. Sometimes you see one bus, two buses, and a master that I to have. And when I talk about it, you want to put me down the bus, you know?
Yeah.
So I tell them, I say, boy, you don't know who you play with. I know the law, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, so the police must do their work, man. Then people just think that the police are joking.
Yeah.
Well, we're just calling on them to do so.
They meet Papi show. You see how they're going? If they do the right thing, well, we're good in Canada.
Okay.
I see a lot of people are wearing masks. Boss here sometimes, when the boss leaves the bus terminal, and they reach out, they're picking up people without masks. Up to Saturday after that.
Up to Saturday.
So I want to put it to charge, man.
All right.
This is me, sir, but don't have, charge me.
All right.
Yeah, man, you have to follow the law.
Yes.
Of course.
Yeah, man, the law is for everybody. Then you take care and have a nice evening.
Well,
All
you'll
right,
be
you
good
too.
till you take care. And here you have one concerned citizen calling on the officers to, steady up themselves. And of course, I believe sometimes the officers do use their discretion. They have that right, that opportunity. They may walk into a situation or observe something and may want to probably be a little lenient. Of course, every situation, I believe, is different. And the same response will not be for every situation that you have. But the law is there and is meant to be kept and upheld. And I mean, we make that point repeatedly, probably almost to the point of annoyance now, that we do not have to continue with this slavish mentality. Yeah. We do not have to enslave ourselves so that the only time and the only way we will do what is correct for us to do and follow the laws as they are prescribed is when we know there is a punishment.
Yeah.
When we know, it's like little school children, but the only reason why I'm doing the homework is because teacher going to beat me tomorrow.
Yeah.
You must do your homework because it is the correct thing to do, and it's going to increase your knowledge and ability to learn and understand the subject matter.
Yep.
The rationale for doing it should not only be because you may be sent to the principal's office. Yeah, and maybe all of that behavioral pattern in us as adults now may probably in some way can be hinged back to those days, school days, young days at home. Boy, if I sweep the yard, daddy go beat me when he come. Let me sweep it quick before I go on. You must sweep the yard because that is part of your chores. Yeah. As a young lady or the young man in the house, you have to wash the dishes. Do it. Don't wait until your parents shout to you and get angry and take a belt for you to do it. We have to, as parents and adults in society, help our children, the teaching profession, help them to get this idea of a big stick must be over your back to cause you to do something. It is the correct thing to do. We may have questions about it. Fine. But because you have a question, because you don't feel it is the correct thing, does not give you the right to break the law.
Yeah.
So you comply and then you complain, as it's done in the army.
Yep.
Comply, then complain. But you cannot not comply, complain, and then when you get charged, you want to complain over again. There is a process.
Yeah.
And we have to follow the process. We have to learn as a people that we must do the correct thing voluntarily, even when we don't feel like doing it.
We don't feel. Yeah.
We don't have to wait until somebody come. So because the police, so the caller is saying that the police must charge and charge and charge. But that is part of their duty to enforce the law, to uphold the law, and maybe when there is an infraction against the law, they have a responsibility to charge. maybe at times, as I say again, they use their discretion, and based on the situation, they say, well, all right, let me give a warning. Let me tell you about it this time. Let me take a note that you did not do the correct thing. So the next time you don't have an excuse, you know. Maybe someone might plead. Maybe someone might ask the police, oh, please, let better reason, you know, prevail. I just took it off while I was walking, come up, and I'm so tired, I'm trying to catch some fresh air. That may not be a proper excuse, but the police officer, he or she or what the position, may want to be lenient with you. That again should not cause another person to say, well, he didn't charge Mary the other day when she explained, so I could do it too, and he's not supposed to charge me. Yeah. No, the law is the law. We have to follow it. But I don't believe we must all wait and do things because we know there's a punishment being. Let us do it because it is the correct thing to do.
Mr. Bola, I think it's the appropriate time now as we are winding down. We are going to take a few more calls after this, but I do want to make mention and, of course, sympathize with the family and close friends of one of our foot soldiers, one of our stalwarts from the St. George Northeast area, Alana Charles, some people know her as Kadisha. She passed away yesterday. Yesterday being Sunday, and of course it's saddened and shocked a lot of us. So we just want to take this moment to sympathize, of course, from the political leader, members of the executive, and of course, NNP family on a whole, to sympathize with her family. And of course, we know words cannot do enough in this time, but of course, we hope that our prayers will comfort the family in this time.
Well, thank you, Ms. Duncan. It's a good way to put it. I do know the individual. We commonly used to give her alias, a nickname, as we call it, Black Girl. It's a really dark African type kind of woman. And, you know, it saddens our heart to hear. You know, there's not much we can do when those things happen. Yeah. Maybe whatever could have been done should have been done long before it happened. After the fact, there's not much we can do. As someone say, without rain, crops won't grow. Yeah. So we all need to find a way to embrace the storms in our lives, because they will bring rain. Yes. And I hope that will help to comfort the people. It's not what we want. Sometimes, you know, we have plans for outdoor activities and down come the rain, the showers. And it may affect our individual plan, but that rain is doing a greater good for so many more people. Yeah, because it's going to help the plants grow. It's going to ensure that food continues to be provided for all of us. So we may be affected one way or the other negatively with any given situation in life. And I know her family, close friends and relatives would be saddened and heartbroken now she's passed. And, you know, what good it is to them. They would have to cry, you know, they'd have to, you know, mourn over her loss. But they would have to learn to embrace it, to deal with it, and to live with it from here on. Yeah. Yeah.
She was such a bright spark, you know, very nice young lady, friendly to many, sweet spirit.
Sweet spirit.
Sweet spirit.
Even roses, as beautiful as they are, they sometimes fade away.
Absolutely.
Yep.
So, guys, we're going to take, we have time to take, what, 2 more calls? Maybe.
They're about, if they're coming soon as possible. If not, we'll have to round up pretty soon. But, you know, again, we want to encourage people, encourage our people. Yeah. And for those of us who are here in Grenada and understands what's happening and have relatives and friends, you know, colleagues out there in the diaspora that are planning to come home, that want to come home. Of course, if Grenada is your land of birth, who can stop you from coming back home? Yeah. This is the land of my birth. I think it's Jimmy Cliff who said that.
This is the land of my birth.
Yeah, I think it was Jimmy Cliff. Yes, the land of your birth. No one can stop you. However, the situation that presently exists demands that you follow certain protocols in order to return. So for those of us who are here and in communication with our friends and family that are planning, let them know what the protocols are, if you know it. Let them know where they can find it. Encourage them to read it and understand it. Let them send the questions. If you can't answer it yourself, find someone who can answer it for them. Direct them to the ministry. The Ministry of Health, maybe even the Tourism Authority. They might be able to help because they should be quite au fait with what the protocols are in order to help them out. Direct them to someone who would be able to give better explanation for the protocols so that when they book and when they come, they know exactly what they're coming to and what to expect.
Yep.
Don't just tell them, well, we're good in Grenada, you can come. And then they arrive at the airport with absolutely no preparation, no plan. In fact, I think there's an online documentation that you have to do even before you leave.
Yes.
So that you will allow and send it in.
And you're also supposed to send in your proof of payment for your 5-night reservation. You're also supposed to send in the actual reservation that you made, what the facility it is that you are going to be at, and of course the health declaration form that has that waiver of limited liability agreement. All of these things need to be sent in along with a copy of your negative PCR test. That all needs to be forwarded to immigration
before your arrival in the country.
To the Ministry of Health before you even arrive here.
Yeah, and that is done via the internet, right?
So. And even though, and we have to give credit to the government because they have been lenient, but they're using discretion as well.
Yes.
They have been lenient in some cases to the people who have not provided it online, but when they get here, they have all of their documentation to show. But there are people who are coming in without the proper documentation.
With nothing whatsoever.
For example, the gentleman who complained about his father not being able to see his father because he was in the hotel 6 days or so on, and he only had an 8-day flight. He came in with a rapid test, not even a PCR test.
And it's clearly stated a PCR test.
So you see, the thing is, we have to try our best to follow the protocol in the way that it is outlined. Basically giving the officials less work to do in that regard so that they can spend much needed time elsewhere. We have a caller on the line. Let's take that quickly. Hello, good morning.
Good morning.
Hi, good morning.
Hi, good morning.
Yes, you're live on Hard Talk.
I want to remember October 19th.
Mm-hmm.
October 19th, 1983.
Mm-hmm.
I'm calling from Carriacou.
Right.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
Oh, that's all the caller wanted to say. Yes, and we didn't acknowledge it this morning. October 19th.
Yeah.
It's a part of our history that some of us may rather or prefer to forget, because it's not the most glowing part of our history, but it is part of what makes us the nation we are today. And we have to accept it. It was done. It was the slaying of our leaders, and other members of the public. I remember I was still in secondary school in those days. I remember the chant and the march with the school children. I got as far as Grenville because I went to the Mount Road Seventh-day Adventist Comprehensive. And for some reason, I don't know what reason, I came down from the truck. I never made it to St. George's. But, we want to, those who have families and relatives. We have another call?
We do.
Caller. Yeah, please, caller, who passed away. We just want to empathize and sympathize with you over the years.
Good morning, caller.
Good morning.
Hi,
Hello, good morning.
Hello, good morning.
Yes,
Hello.
we're hearing you.
Yes. Brother Bola.
Good morning to you, sir.
Well. It's a real boy. First time I ever called the line. I'm wondering how a man as me should be on your program long then.
Well, I don't know why you're not there, because I know the man who is talking. I make your voice out already. You are out from the north, and somebody like you who have a wealth of knowledge and information, I don't know why you have been staying away.
I personally don't know much about October 19 because I was in Trinidad. I went and hid in Trinidad. I went Trinidad hiding at this time.
Yes.
I only get news on the radio, so I may not be able to explain about October 19. But on a different topic.
Yes.
What I want to say is, I calling on Grenadians to be.
Listen on the phone and just talk. Forget the radio. Ask them to lower it down and just talk. Just talk on the phone.
I want to call on Grenadians to be reasonable. Now, this government has been doing so much. Yeah, I say this. Yeah, this government has been doing so much for the people of Grenada. And some people only believe in listening to negative. I have known a lot of people who is benefiting well in the farm labor program. People have been benefiting in the farm, and they would not go on the radio and say what the government has been doing for them. We have a farm labor program. There's a lot of people benefiting from it.
Caller, you have to listen to us on the phone and not on the radio because there's a delay.
Right? They only listening to negative.
Yeah.
This government has been doing so much. And we have some of our people.
Go ahead.
Caller, listen on the phone, not on the radio. Lower the radio in the background.
Yes. So they listen to negative. Even our people who call themselves supporters.
All right, I'm sorry. Caller, you have to call us back another time because one, we are out of time at this point, and two, next time you're calling, listen on the phone. The radio has a delay, so you're not going to be able to listen to yourself speak on the radio while you're making your point. I'm sorry about that. All right, Mr. Bola, any closing remarks as we leave? Oh, two people on the WhatsApp wants me to let you know that the singer of that song is Land of My Birth is Eric Donaldson.
Eric Donaldson. Yes, they know better than you. I think Jimmy Cliff. You know, both Eric Donaldson and it's Eric Donaldson. That's nice, sweet voice. You don't know better than me, Bolin. Yes, Jimmy Cliff. Thank you all for the correction, you see. This little girl don't know nothing much.
But Mr. Bola, when I born?
So
I almost born in the 90s, you know.
She leading me down the wrong track. But you know, as I've always said, don't matter how long or how far the wrong track you have gone, you can always stop and turn back. And with good help from people like you all who always listen, and of course, we say we are not the repository of knowledge here, and you are helping us. I so appreciate that. Thank you very much for that. And feel free at all times when we are on this program, HARDTALK, and we may give a bit of information that needs greater clarity or some correctiveness to it, and you have that information, post it, call us, tell us. We do appreciate, because we're not the repository of knowledge. We try our best in bringing to you good information, factual information. It was a wonderful Monday. I hope that it continues to be for all of you out there as listeners of this program. We hope you will be able to join us tomorrow, God's willing again. Continue to have a good Monday afternoon. I know that there is an organized government meeting tomorrow evening in St. Patrick's. I think it is mainly for the constituents of St. Patrick's East. It should be taking place, from the information I heard, starting at 6 o'clock at the Anglican Primary School in Sotes. I hope that remains so, because I got that information late last week. I hope it hasn't changed. So people are expected to turn out. The Prime Minister will be present and other government officials to speak to you on issues and to take your questions. Everyone, however, must follow the protocol. They must be socially distanced and based on the sitting arrangement and wearing the mask. No one will be allowed to enter the premises if they're not wearing them. So that is out there for the people of St. Patrick's East tomorrow afternoon, 6 o'clock. the Anglican primary school in Sotes. I think there is some arrangement for transportation, and so check with your parliamentary rep or whoever else may be responsible for organizing to take the people to the venue, what kind of transport, which bus or so, or whatever means of transportation they're using to get you there. And I think that process continues where it's similar to what was called holidays face-to-face. Only now we are putting our face in other people's face. We're masking face, but the Prime Minister and his team will be going around from constituency to constituency. And as we get the info, we'll try to let you know right here on Hard Talk. So have a good one. Those of you who called or sent us messages, whatever way you participated, we thank you very much. Let's continue to do that again on another day. God bless you all.
All right. Also, I want to let the people of Mount Morris know that the Minister for Hospital Services is having a meeting on Wednesday in front of the medical station in Mount Morris, and it has to do with matters to do with that particular area. So those of you in Mount Morris who would or who's interested in that particular topic, then you can attend the meeting. I do hope that most people will attend because, I mean, it's our medical station. So, you know, the information is valuable to us all. Guys, we have come to the end of our program. As we say here every day, in whatever you say and whatever you do, be safe and be secure. We always want to be talking with you. We do not ever want to be talking about you. Please enjoy the remainder of your day and stay tuned for the national report. Have a wonderful Monday, guys.
Work on the way to correct land slippage at Mount Nesbitt, St. John. We'll have the details to this story and more in the national report. With the details to the news for Friday, October 16th, 2020, I'm Delroy Luzon. Work has begun to construct a retaining wall, a cross culvert, and a 37-foot box drain at Mount Nesbitt, St. John, to correct land slippage. Foray and Foray Construction Company is undertaking the project, which began earlier this month. Foreman on the site, John Andrew, says despite minor setbacks caused by the weather, the project is progressing.
We did about 40%. We completed about 40% in the project already. We're supposed to do a wall, retaining wall, the culvert, and then after we have to do a box and drain. We had a lot of setbacks with the rain, so we couldn't accomplish more than what we accomplished for now. But I think we're on track.
6 men are currently employed on the project, which is scheduled to be completed at the end of this month.
We were supposed to accomplish by next Friday. Next Friday we should be accomplished, but we had a little setback, so I don't think we should have a little. But if the weather continue on that, so I think we might be close because it's just a matter. We do the most important part already. The footing of the wall is 5 foot 7 inches wide by 1 foot thick, and the height is from one point. The length of the wall is 42 feet. And the height could be one part, the lower part will be 9 foot, and the higher part will be 10 foot. Based on the foundation, certain part would have been soft. We had to go down a little to get solid and things like that. So some place might be a little bit okay. But basically, we on track.
And in terms of the box drain, would it be all solid concrete, or you'd be putting culverts and reinforce it with concrete?
The culverts would be reinforced with concrete. What size culvert? The culvert is 2 feet by 2 feet culverts, and we will be we're concreting the culverts on them. When we put the culvert, we're putting concrete around them to keep them firm. The box drain would do make out of blocks. Will be solid casting. Solid casting. The blocks would be 8-inch blocks on either side.
Drivers are urged to use the diversion route, which is the Mabuya Road, until the completion of the project and reopening of the road by the Ministry of Infrastructure. Small, micro, and medium-sized enterprises are praising government and the United Nations Development Programme UNDP for efforts to boost the business environment and create new markets amidst the challenges of COVID-19. The business sector has suffered a huge loss during the COVID-19 lockdown. Only recently, several businesses were given the green light by authorities to operate under strict regulations to ensure safety of employees and customers. The Ministry of Finance, GIDC, and the UNDP have given grants to 10 established businesses to assist them to transition to online operations. These entrepreneurs are grateful for the opportunity to survive and promote their business to the new digital market. Bevan Charles, Denny Cronet, and Kelson O'Geist said the grant allowed them to build and boost their online presence and improve on machinery, labeling, and packaging.
The funding was used to purchase water tanks, pipes, fittings, sprinkler systems, to implement irrigation system at 2 new locations, one at Madiba St. George's and another at Bendham St. George's, which are being operated solely by young females in those communities. I'm very thankful for this grant program because now we are able to interact with our customers, not only locally, regionally, and internationally, to provide convenient shopping experiences for all range of our services.
We are so grateful to be blessed with that grant funding. Now, that grant funding that we have received has allowed us to purchase a wide range of machineries and equipment, accessories, and even more so, allow us to get our product and services online by obtaining our website.
Our main goal is to supply fresh fruits and vegetables throughout the tri-island states of Grenada. Getting the grant was a blessing. We're now in the process of launching our website, which is convenientmarket.gd. And in that way, persons, both locally and internationally, will have the access to shop online to purchase fresh fruits and vegetables. So for example, you may have someone in America and they may be thinking about sending money via MoneyGram, Western Union. But we Convenient Market, we have this platform where you can now order online and we deliver it for you here in Grenada. The grants have done exceptionally great for us. I'm now able to purchase a cooler refrigerator, which I can keep my produce very fresh. We have now purchased crates, so I can store the produce as well. We have now got packaging materials.
This is the National Report. Stay with us, we'll have more news when we return. Efforts to resuscitate local banana production continue as the Ministry of Agriculture, Forestry and Lands supports banana farmers and other key players of the sector. One of the ministry's latest initiatives, according to this report, is pest and disease management training. We get more in this Mina Booker report.
Adhering to the COVID-19 health and safety guidelines, a total of 14 farmers were trained on pest and disease management, focusing on control measures for the management of the Moko disease and black sigatoka, two of which have significantly impacted the production of bananas here. The trainings were facilitated by Thaddeus Peters, Chief Pest Management Officer within the Ministry of Agriculture.
This is very important, and getting back in, bringing in tissueculture and farmers planting is not new, but we want to ensure these days in times of limited funds for everything, we want to ensure that whatever resources are put in, that we see the desired benefits. So hence we have undertaken to follow the plans that was distributed, just about 10,000 I think, and would have been shared about amongst 14 farmers.
This is the fourth session held by the ministry, having completed successful trainings in plot establishment, agronomic practices, irrigation and fertilizer application of bananas early in 2020. Minister of Agriculture, Lands and Forestry, Honorable Peter David, says the department is determined to push policies that will encourage an increase in agricultural output among farmers. Visiting banana farmers who were recently part of this training session, Minister David told them that they will be vital in helping to increase local output. Minister David said he is confident that Grenada could get back to being self-sufficient in banana production. He says there is no reason, with the right incentives and organization, why Grenada could not get back to producing enough bananas, so there will be no need to import that commodity.
This banana production is for local consumption. In other words, we need to have sufficient people eating locally. This is a priority because we need to get sufficient bananas so we don't have to import. Grenada importing bananas, yes, you're right, my dear brother Peters. People should be shocked. I mean, I grew up on the lane in Tonga. I remember the banana truck coming down the lane every week. I remember listening to radio and hearing, I don't know what it is, but Go Michel and Lakatan and how much Go Michel and Lakatan, we had a lot of that. Now we have little of it. So this project is extremely important in that regard for food security.
The training sessions were held on Wednesday 7th October on the farm of Ronald Charles and the other on Tuesday 14th on the farm of Claudius Pear. Technical officers from the ministry also participated in the trainings. This training is part of the wide knowledge sharing process by the Ministry of Agriculture to support farmers that have benefited from tissue culture banana plants earlier in the year, as well as farmers that have interest in the crop. For the Ministry of Agriculture, Lands and Forestry, I am Mina Booker.
Thank you, Mina. Finally in the news, as part of the month of the elderly, senior citizens were recognized for their valuable contribution made to their various communities. Rikisha St. Louis has more in this report.
8 individuals across Grenada, Carriacou and Petit Martinique were awarded for their outstanding contributions to their communities and the country at large. 1 individual each was chosen per parish in areas such as education, sports, health, farming and general community service. In the parish of St. Patrick, Miss Stella Best, MBE, a retired nurse, was recognized for her work in the area of health and is very active in church and community life, impacting the young as well as the seniors with whom she crosses paths with. In 1994, Miss Best was bestowed with the honor of Member of the Order of the British Empire by Her Majesty Queen Elizabeth II. In the parish of St. Andrew, Miss Rhoda Morenzi of La Fillette is a former missionary nurse in Haiti. She also served at the Richmond Home for the Aged and later at the Cadrona Home for the Aged as matron. She expresses thanks to the Ministry of Social Development for the recognition.
It has been more than my privilege, my blessings, to help people and see that they're comfortable and they're cared for. And I'm very happy to have been able to make a difference, whatever little or big or small, to the people that I serve, because we're all servants. And again, I want to say to the Ministry of Social Development and Empowerment, I thank you.
In St. David, Mrs. Helena Patrice began her career in 1971 as a teacher and later served as principal of the Holy Cross Roman Catholic School from 1990 to 2005. She later served as an assistant school feeding officer in the Ministry of Education until her retirement in 2013. Mr. Franklin Simpson of River Road in St. George is our next awardee. Nat, as he is affectionately known, is a well-renowned football coach who has served as a footballer and coach on almost every level. He continues to be a pillar in the sporting arena, impacting many professional and budding players. Ms. Jeanette Dubois is a former teacher, educator, and permanent secretary in the Ministry of Education. Ms. Dubois is a native of St. John and also a former president of the Grenada Union of Teachers and the Grenada Trades Union Council, the first woman to hold both positions. Even in retirement, Ms. Dubois continues to contribute to her community and church families. The award was handed to her by social worker attached to the desk of the elderly, Chikal Courtney.
Thank you very much. I appreciate the recognition. And I wish your ministry very, very best in the work that you're doing with the elderly. I generally don't refer to myself as the elderly. I say I'm not so young because when you grow up, you think about an elderly person as someone who is unable to help him or herself. But with, I suppose, changes that have been taking place, people are taking better care of themselves. So they look younger, and I hope I fall into that category of old but still young. Okay? So thank you very much. I really appreciate it.
Former principal and avid farmer George Wilson, known as Brother George, was the awardee for the parish of St. Mark. 2 individuals will also be awarded in Carriacou and Petit Martinique in the coming days. For the National Report, I am Rikisha St. Louis.
Thank you, Rikisha. That story has brought us to the end of the National Report for Friday, 16th October 2020. But before we leave, let's recap the headline. Work on the way to correct land slippage at Mount Nesbitt, St. John. That's all from us here at the newsroom. On behalf of all who made this newscast possible, management and staff of the Government Information Service, I'm Delroy Louzan, thanking you for joining us.
Up to date with all that's happening with the new national party, NNP. Send us a message via text or WhatsApp on 405-8683 with your name, email, and constituency. Stay in the know with NNP. Get updated.